This episode has been brought to you from the DGMS Studios, home of Don't Get Me Started, Lethal and Mully Live and Surftown. Found at Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music and wherever you listen to your podcast. Hello and welcome to Don't Get Me Started. It's the mother of all podcasts with Keith and Lee. Hi, I'm Lee.
And I'm Keith.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Don't Get Me Started, brought to you by the DGMS Studios. And as always, I couldn't do it without my trusty sidekick, the legend known as Keith Mully McMullen. How are you, Keith?
Look, I'm smiling on the outside, but inside I'm not happy. Not happy at all. You know why?
What's the problem?
Well, I was out surfing yesterday on my beloved surfboard and some kook decided to be right in front of me as I took off on the wave. And so I had to make a decision which way to go, left or right. Otherwise, I would have literally went straight over the top of him. So he decides to move a little bit to the right at the same time as I did. So in a split second, I had to veer to the left so I wouldn't hit him. But I actually did. I would have clipped his right shoulder and I heard a thud. And then the wave took me on and that was the last wave I wanted to ride for the day. So I just went in and then went to wrap up my leg rope around the back of my board and I looked and there's a fin missing.
No.
Yeah. So this kook, this idiot.
The kook?
Yeah, well, he didn't know what he was doing. He was a learner. He shouldn't have been out there. It was a surf spot where you had to have some skills to be able to handle it.
So what was he? A young fellow? Old fellow?
No, some old bloke.
Some old kook?
Yeah, floundering around, probably here on his holiday. And
Mate, and it took you 2 days to get there. By the time you got out the car and walked to National Park.
What do you mean 2 days? You're talking to me?
Oh no, sorry, wrong guy.
Yeah. Gee, see, I told you I'm not happy on the inside.
You're not, mate, you're not.
Gee, so I looked down, here's a fin, and it didn't just lose the fin, it ripped out the whole fin box. So here's this gaping hole, fiberglass all turned up and ripped away and foam underneath, which of course ruins the back of the board. You have to have it fixed.
Are you getting it fixed?
Probably get a new one, I think.
Oh, there you go. Then maybe it's not such a disaster.
Yeah, no, what I'll do, I might patch it up and just have as a spare, when you have visitors, so you go.
There you go, take that.
Float around, see if you can find that guy and run over him.
You can call it the kook. You can ride the kook.
Jeez.
What do you reckon?
Do you know that people think a lot of people who don't surf think that it's all just chilled out and laid back surfers, and everybody's cool. When you get out in the water, when it's really crowded, it's a jungle because theoretically there should only be one rider on a wave. If you have more than one rider, it can spoil it for the person who has the right of way. That's somebody on the inside who's closest to the white breaking water on the wall of the wave. So there's a fight often in the water to see who can get that spot to take that next rideable wave. And of course, some guys don't respect the inside rider. They drop in. That means in front of him or her to take the best part of that inside surfer's ride. There's aggression, there's fights, swearing, flicking surfboards at each other. It's a jungle out there sometimes, I tell you.
Mate, I've sat in enough of your interviews in Surftown, and most of them say, when you say anything else you'd like to say, they said, oh yeah, be kind out there in the water. Don't be aggressive. Don't be nasty. Enjoy, have fun. It's there for everybody. So it's always been that case. Me, obviously, a non-surfer, I don't get into that, but other things I could understand where you have to compete for that wave. There's very few waves in Noosa.
Well, it wasn't always like that because when surfing started to take off, which was in the last century, say from about 1950s onwards, there wasn't that many people doing it. And as it's grown in popularity, of course, all the surf spots have become more and more crowded. Our great famous Australian world surfing champion, Nat Young, who's quite an elderly gentleman at the moment, he was so concerned about the crowds and what he calls surf rage. Actually, he wrote a book about it because he was a victim of it. He was attacked out in the water down in Yamba in northern New South Wales and smashed his jaw.
Wow.
Quite seriously, and he had to have a steel plate inserted. Well, he wrote a book about surf rate, which most people ignored, and then he also came up with a code of surfing etiquette, which he was successful in having erected on a number of beaches right around the world. Well, apparently in California, I think, I'm not sure which beach over there, this beautiful steel board or signpost of all the rules of etiquette for surfing has been set there in metal, so somebody can't just chop it down and get rid of it. But they've covered it in stickers.
Oh.
You can't even read what's on it.
Well, saying signs, now, the funny thing I just want to mention a little bit later on, but I was down in the Spit along the Broadwalk there, and I've seen signs up, etiquette for surfers. Please give way, please take your turn. So even it's filtering through.
Yeah, but the trouble is everybody ignores it.
Yeah, they don't care.
If you were to stand there and watch 20 surfers walk past, say to them, did you read that? Could you tell me what some of those suggestions of etiquette
What
and consideration?
rule number 3 was?
Yeah, they go, I don't know, man.
But anyway, beautiful. So I was down now. Just do a big shout out to my son Luke. He's started running. Well, not started running. He's been running for a while. He wants to do a marathon. He wants to do the Ironman. He decided to run the whole of June. So on day 1, he ran 1 kilometre. Day 2, 2 kilometres, so on, to the final one, which was 30 kilometres. He couldn't do it on the day because it was raining. He was going to do it at night, then he left it too late. So we did it on the 1st of July. And my wife and I decided that we'd go with him, not run. There's no way I'll be running, but we got on our bikes. So anyway, we rode with him while he ran, and he joined up with a friend, Timmy, who's over from New Zealand, and we went all the way down to the Spit. It's amazing. I forgot how beautiful it is and saw the signs, and so hence that's how I knew about them. But anyway, big shout out to Luke. Well done, mate. You've done that. You've done the 30 Ks. You did it in the PR, personal record. There's PB, personal best, and PR.
Don't look at me for validation on that. I wouldn't know.
Well, I didn't know it was a PR. Yeah, personal record. Anyway, he did it in time, so good on him. Well done. And we're going to do a fun 2K run in Mooloolaba with our granddaughter. My wife and I, Luke, and our granddaughter and her mother.
Are you in training?
Mate, every day.
Doesn't look like it.
It's cold, Molly. You were freezing this morning.
Yeah.
This is padding, mate.
No, the focus is on you at the moment. Is it? Or is it the way that you're sitting and all those extra layers that poke out?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm not buying it. It looks like a potbelly
Let's
to
move
me
on.
From here. Really?
The other shout out I want to do is to our friend, the legend himself, Mr. Gary Godsell. He rang me while I was on the run on the bike, and I said, "Oh mate, how you going? What's up?"
Wait a minute. You're riding a push bike, and the phone goes, and you answered it while you were riding.
Yeah, because I've got it attached to the handlebars speaker. It's on speaker. I can still do it.
Really?
Yeah, still do it. So I'm talking to Gary, and he's ringing up, and he's just saying how much he loves our podcast.
On your Gazza, on your mate.
He was just very kind, very courteous, and I just want to give it back. And I know you won't like this. Mr. Godsell is one of the nicest, friendliest guys you could ever know. He's a family man. He loves his children. And by the way, his daughter's getting married on September 5th. So good on you, Gary. Thank you for all your kind words. We enjoy the feedback, good, bad, and ugly. But I was bowled over. Thanks, Gary. Big shout out to you, mate.
What do you mean ugly? Have we had ugly feedback?
We've had very little feedback.
Mate, this is one of the most friendliest podcasts in the world. No animals get hurt here. No genders are offended. What else don't we do?
And
no animals.
No animals are harmed.
No trees are felled. We haven't
no feelings hurt.
No
genders offended.
We haven't even been counselled yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm going to give a shout out again. Anybody that wants to contact us with anything concerning our podcast, the email is...
Don't get me started. 24.
No. That's what happens when you're unrehearsed. So
don't get me started.
Don't get me started. 2024.
2024. Are we that old?
Oh,
We've been going that long.
At gmail.com.
All right, better repeat that because I interjected.
Don't get me started. 2024 at gmail.com. Drop us a line. Tell us what you think. It doesn't matter. We love feedback. So Gary, thank you for that. Thank you to Ross, and also thank you for Danny. They're the top 3.
Yeah, good on you, fellas. I apologise, Lee, that I got that email wrong, but I've got a terrible short-term memory, but I can remember a lot of things, a lot of the trivia things that really aren't that useful. For example, did you know that in the 1800s, Australia expected Russia to attack, and they built all these forts?
Where? In Sydney?
There's a couple in Sydney, one down Sydney called Bear Island, where they actually filmed part of one of the the Mission...
Don't Get Me Started podcast.
the Mission Impossible movies.
Right.
That's at Bear Island. The fort on that island was built along with the other ones. I think there's one in Adelaide, there's one in Melbourne, there's one in Newcastle called Fort Scratchley. And there's one in Brisbane called Lytton.
Right.
And these were all built because England told us, because we were a colony back then, that the Russians because the Russian ships used to call down here around Australia before they went over into the Pacific to trade in the early 1800s. But when the Crimean War happened and Britain and Russia were on opposing sides, Russia became the bad bad guy, and then they send a message out here. They're going to come down here and get the Australian colony, so you better build all these forts. So they've got all these forts. They're just sitting there right around the eastern and the southern coastline to repel the Russian invasion.
Well, now it's Peter Hegseth, Trump's Pentagon guy, saying, hey, Albo, you've got to spend more money on your defence. From who?
Yeah, well, I don't know, but see,
The Russians.
I can remember all these marvellous, crazy trivia things like that about the forts, but I can't remember
Last email.
our email address.
You're a classic, Molly.
But I can remember what we're supposed to talk about today.
Oh, good.
Do you remember?
We come across so many, we float a lot. I think I did say could we do one on Does Hope Spring Eternal?
Oh, that's not going today.
That's not going today. No. Okay, lay it on me, brother.
Doth clothes maketh the man stroke woman.
Oh, okay. Where did the stroke woman come from? There's that mind again.
Well, let's see, I'm a modern guy here.
Stroke woman?
No.
Slash. Thank you.
Well, how about this? Doth clothes make the man and the woman?
The woman, yes.
So, I'm a modern guy. I'm equality.
Yeah, equality, all right.
But the old saying used to be, doth clothes maketh the man. And, of course, back then, when the just included the man, that also implied does it make the woman as well. But because
Is that the proverb, though? Or
Yes.
is it just clothes maketh the man, not stroke woman, though, is it?
No, stroke woman's not in it.
No.
I was just trying to say that they're both...
So clothes
together.
make us the man.
Yes.
It's a person's outward experience, specifically their clothing, which can signify, I don't know, influence or others that perceive you to be due to your attire.
Yeah, well, see, I get what that's saying, how others perceive you to be because of your attire. So when this question is put forward,
Or social standing.
Yes, status. So when this question is put forward, does clothes maketh the man and woman? I can answer that yes and no because, like, I lived in Hong Kong for 10 years, and over there the Chinese are very conscious of status. And if you dressed a certain way, they would show you certain respect. They'd defer to you in different situations. But if you dressed very casually, then they'd be a little bit more offhanded towards you. I saw a lot of guys, in summer it's just stifling, the humidity's off the charts. I used to see these guys walk around in suits in summer because they knew that they'd have a certain amount of respect shown to them. So in that sense, clothes does maketh the man. It can admit to the people observing you that you're a certain person of status, certain person who has taste, certain person who has style, even a certain personality.
But we're handicapped in Queensland. This is the thing, because summer is here for so long, you can't wear. I mean, I'm sitting here with a nice jumper on, and over the weekend I put on a nice pair of jeans and my nice brogues, and I felt really cool. And I remember us talking about dressing before, and I said, have you ever worn a tuxedo? And you go, no. And I said, wow, it does make you feel like you are James Bond. And the clothes that you wear, true, it does. Now, if we look at stroke or slash woman, are we looking at the clothes on a woman who dress beautifully, or are we looking at the face of the woman? To me, an impact for me would always be her attire, her clothes. And ultimately, which my wife loves, which I know you know about, is shoes.
Yeah, well, apparently that's what women do. They look at shoes a lot.
But you have a saying, because you said it before about a member in your family.
Yeah, well, I have a certain member of my family who's a snob. She used to always say to me, if you ever want to know if anybody has any class about them, look at their shoes. It's like, yeah, okay. Hadn't really thought about that. But, like you said, here in Queensland, where our climate is subtropical and our winters are mild, most of the time in summer, when you're stepping out recreationally, it's quite uncomfortable to have enclosed shoes. So we wear what the Americans call, what do they call them over there? No, they don't. They
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops. Why would they call bloody
The same
thongs?
as the UK. Thongs, yeah. I don't know why they call it, like when it's how put your thongs on, I'm going, that's underwear. That's women's underwear.
No, they're open-toed shoes.
Crocs, sandals.
Yeah, they're more of a very slim sandal rather than a croc sort of thing. But so you do that because it's more comfortable, and you don't wear long pants very much.
No.
Nearly everybody in summer here wears shorts. So it's very hard to look at somebody and say, oh, there's a person of style. If you wanted to, you could look close and say, oh, yeah, nice cloth on the shorts, the cut's good, and the shirt's pretty cool. If you look close, but you don't get a chance to dress up, do you?
Well, it's the material as well, because you want the coolest stuff, so it's cotton.
Yes.
And you just want a T-shirt, you want a pair of shorts. Like, I was flabbergasted when I came of how many people wasn't wearing any shoes. And most of the children that grow up here have got wide feet because they're not pushing them into any shoe. They're just going flat, flat, flat. And they're not feet, they're paddles. They really are. That's why you're so good at surfing and swimming. You've got paddles as feet. Where in the UK, you just grew up with shoes, keep everything warm. I do miss dressing up.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. I miss the crisp shirt, the tie, the jacket, the nice chinos, because they do some nice cuts, nice chino cuts. And it'll turn up. Then the brogues, or I've got, I forget what they're called now, Italian leather, and they just fit so well. And every time, because you know what I look like most of the day, Mully, a bloody mess, all right? So when I do get dressed up in winter, which I love, people see me, they go, oh, I didn't recognise you with some clothes on. That's the thing. And I love that. And
Would you like to rephrase that?
I was smart. I wasn't in my work attire.
I didn't recognise you dressed so nicely.
Yeah, like, oh, is that you, Lee? Oh, my God, I didn't recognise you. And not only that, I also like to smell nice as well. It's very UK-ish. It's very European. So I miss that.
Yeah, well, I must admit the short amount of times that I've either lived in cold climates or visited, I really like a scarf. You know, I think a scarf looks pretty snazzy.
And it's the way that you tie it, though. Yeah, it's like a tie. You've got to tie it a special way to know, oh, he's a man of style.
Yeah, a little substance about him.
Oh, and the watch. And the little ring on the pinky.
Oh, no, bugger that. Little ring on the pinky. Oh, that's an English thing, isn't it?
I don't know. Maybe European. I've never wore a little ring on the finger.
Really, isn't it?
Yeah. A couple of my mates do, and I always have a giggle. But every time I see them as well overseas, they've just got a nice cut to them. Mm-hmm. Their clothing, it's just so nice. And even though they could be as dumb as a bloody donkey's backside, they look very intelligent, very dapper.
Now, if you were to have some dealings with that person and you don't really know them and you see them dressed in that dapper style, how would you first of all approach them?
Well, again, it's like you look at their attire, first of all, then you look at their hands. This is me. So if you look at my hands, you can see that I bite my nail. So there's one no. Secondly, whatever they're wearing at the time. And so if there's any tattoos and you look at the face and things like the earrings for another thing, it's the whole deal. And you take it in. The jackets that they used to wear, or used to still do in the UK, in winter, you get these nice jackets too. It's just, because when you spoke about it before, I thought, oh, I do miss it. I really do. And I remember reading an article, I don't know who it was, some guru that tries to get space in your home. If you've got a small home, you need to do this, this and this. And then it goes on about your clothes. And they said, go to your wardrobe and then look at your clothes. And if you haven't worn it in a year, chuck it out.
Oh, that's good advice.
In my case, all I'd have left in my wardrobe would be 5 T-shirts, 2 pairs of shorts and my work gear.
And your thongs, welcome to Australia.
And that's it. I don't know, maybe every 6 weeks in a year I can wear the other stuff.
Yeah.
But of course, over that time, you were looking at my round belly here.
Oh,
you put on a bit of weight. Now I better get a different shirt. Oh, well, I'll keep that because later on I'll lose weight and I'll get into that one. But if I put weight on, I can fit into that. Like, it's the mentality of it is crazy.
Yeah, the other thing is too, not only the quality and attire, but also the way it's put together. I remember I was travelling in Europe years ago and a bunch of certain tourists came through and they had one particular lady in the group had stripes up the top and paisley floral, these short pants down the bottom. And,
why do they do it?
And then there's fancy white shoes with flowers on the top of it. It just looked so gross. It was so overdone. And I'm just thinking, God, lady, that just looks so bad. And I think sometimes some people have a mentality that the more patterns are on it, the more that they feel that they've got a lot more going on, whereas they kill it, in my view.
Well, this is what happens in Europe. In winter, everybody wears black or dark grey. And I've noticed as well in the department stores, I don't know whether it's true or not, again, it just flicked through it, where you have the mannequins and the shirt always looks good. And you're thinking, oh, that'll look good on me, but it's not my shape. But they're doing mannequins now in my shape.
With pot bellies.
With pot bellies. I thought, it's about time.
So you're not feeling discriminated against?
Absolutely.
And also on this show, we might add that no body shapes have been shamed either.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Aren't we doing well?
Doing very well. But I remember in Paris many, many years ago, and I'm walking down there with my daughter. She was only probably, I don't know. I hope that you're enjoying the podcasts and the content that we're bringing to you each week. I want to take a moment to invite you to support the show. Your contributions help us continue creating high-quality episodes, bringing in exciting guests and exploring the topics you love. Every bit helps, whether it's a small donation or signing up for our Patreon account. By supporting us, you're not just helping keeping the lights on, you're becoming part of our community and helping us grow. To show our appreciation, we offer exclusive perks, behind-the-scenes content, and so much more for our supporters. So if you love what we do and you want to see us thrive, please consider signing up at buzzsprout.com/don't get me started. Support the show. Thank you for being part of our journey, and let's keep the conversation going. 10, 11. And I've never been a follower of fashion like most are, but I was aware of it. I was aware that you can't wear that, Lee, because that was last year. But you can wear this year. So great, no worries. So I'm walking down the street with Did, and she goes, oh, look at that, Dad. And I turned around, and in this shop front, I don't know what it's called, Michelle's Glamour Wear, there was 3 mannequins, and each mannequin had a different suit on. And it was the first time that I stopped and thought, wow, look at the cut on that. Look at the lapels. Look at the materials they've used. Look at the stitching. Everything about it was like, I was sort of dribbling like, oh, like this. And I said to Did, one day, Did, we'll come back here and I'll buy those. Of course, now they're outdated and gone, but that was the only time I ever thought fashion.
So am I assuming that you saw style?
Yes, I saw style.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. I think it's very, very important.
It was so nice and refreshing. You would have had suits measured for you.
No, I just always bought off the rack.
I had one done for actually Crystal's wedding, and the suit just fits beautifully when you put your arm up or when you turn or bend down. Everything has been allocated to your body style, your movement, and it was just nice. And there's a photo, funnily enough, of me and Crystal, and I'm walking her. She was married on Sunshine Beach, so we walked down the sand dunes into the beach. Beautiful. Luke took a photo of us, and we've got it upstairs, and her son Vander says, oh, Grandy, look at you and Nanny getting married. And I said, no, darling, that's me taking your mummy to give to your daddy.
Yeah.
And it was just funny. But that photo you would never think was taken anywhere else but paradise.
Background.
But not only that, and it was a juxtaposition because Crystal's in a white wedding dress and I'm in, for the first time, a nice cut suit. I still got it.
First time in Australia.
First time.
But you do feel good about yourself when you dress really well and you know that you're dressed well. And you've got the right cut, the right fit, the right blend of colours, everything comes together nicely and you just feel good. I don't know about you, but I'm not really that much of a follower of fashion, but there are sometimes I put clothes on and they don't seem to complement or blend together and I can't wear them. I can't step outside with that combination on. I have to have some sort of feng shui thing going on with my clothes so I feel like, I'm comfortable in this.
Yeah.
Do you have that?
Yeah, all the time. That's why I love Queensland the way, because you can throw on a T-shirt. I like wearing, like I've got at the moment, linen pants. They're universal. You can wear them all through the year. Nice little T-shirt on here, which is colourful. And I've got a nice jumper on. And I feel like I should be sitting on a deck somewhere, sipping some Pims on a Sunday afternoon.
Pims? It's so very English of you.
It's so very
What's
English,
the other one? A G&T?
G&T. Oh, when I used to drink, I used to have that, but not so much now. But the clothes, they do make you a man.
Yeah, well, the reason I said at the beginning they do and they don't is because what really makes the man, makes the woman, of course, is what is inside them. What is their makeup? And, this is one of my pet things. I think everybody should have a rich inner life. You must have something going on within yourself that people don't know what it is, but it's what you have in there that is rich, that's interesting for you. And of course, that will come out of you at some point along the line. And as it comes out in your persona, your personality or whatever, then that transmits over to the other people that you or they are communicating with. So I think the substance and what you have within you makes you the man or the woman that you are. I think that's kind of elementary. But at the same time, I also do believe that clothes do make us the man or the woman because they will, if you're dressing appropriately appropriately for the occasion, which is a key thing in all of this, then how you're dressing donates to the other person that you are up to whatever the occasion demands at the time. I mean, if you were to go as a wedding guest, or as the example you just said before, father of the bride, and instead of dressing smartly like you did, say you just went in your casual old T-shirts and your shorts and your thongs, your flip-flops, to give your daughter away at her wedding.
That would never happen, mate.
People would look at you and say, what kind of father is this? Is not being appropriate for the occasion. So that's something that really transmits if you are dressed right going into a business meeting. The moment you dress appropriately for that, it gives the person that you are dealing with some confidence that you know or have some ability to deal with the situation.
But dressing can be a powerful tool.
Wasn't there that phrase for women some time ago, power dressing?
Yeah. And not only, well, I'm just saying about myself, not only how others perceive you, you also perceive what you are because how you're feeling in your clothes.
Yes.
Now, if I'm sitting here in another attire that isn't what I feel is very comfortable and very right, I would feel lackadaisical, can't be arsed, I'm a slob, I don't want to do anything because I'm in this gear. The gear I'm in now is situated to where we are, the atmosphere I'm in, the climate, everything's good.
Yeah, now whether we will admit it or not, we do judge each other. We look at each other and we...
Well, you've judged me ever since you walked into the studio,
No,
mate.
Bulldust, man. I've judged you for 30 years. The first time I saw you, you were working in these coloured striped pants.
Yeah,
like, Joseph's colour, Technicolor.
Yeah, they're multicoloured. But they were in fashion the year before.
In England, and here you are in Australia wearing them, and I'm going, what's that bloody guy got on? What's he wearing?
I remember walking onto the site and I hear, hey, you're bloody puffed up. I've gone, what? Look at you. What you got on, you bloody puffed-up? I've gone, well, guess what happened to them? They were in the bin the following day.
Never wore them onto a building site
Never wore them again. So I learnt my lesson. But I remember you, Mully, coming round one day with these Joseph Technicolor bloody sweatpants on. I'm gone, what are those, Mully? I said, you look gay.
I've never worn a pair of sweatpants in my life.
You did, mate.
They're board shorts.
No, you came round at Alcorn Drive and you had a jacket on and these colourful pants, and I thought, that looks gay. And
Wait a minute.
And you never wore them again.
Wait, I'm trying to think. No.
Yes, they were. Trust me, mate. Who's got the better memory? Who just said?
I said I've got a bad short-term memory, but I've got a pretty good long-term memory, and I can't remember.
You remember knocking on the door and I looked at you and looked down and thought, what are you wearing, Mully?
I can't believe it, did I?
Thankfully, you didn't wear them again. But another shout-out that I forgot to say was Dino. I'll say this quickly, we've got an episode coming, which is Lisa Mully, and Dino teaches JKD. And in that interview, he said, Mully, I remember you, Keith, in the nightclub, wearing your long white socks and your brown sandals.
You're joking,
There
man.
you go.
You're joking.
He said that.
I know he did, but you know what he's doing? He's gaslighting here. He's turning the tables around. A POM who is known in Australia for wearing white socks and sandals. I mean, that's how you can peg them on the streets,
They're
ladies
Germans,
and gentlemen.
mate.
That's how you can pick them. Look at that, a pommy tourist. He's got socks and sandals on
They're German.
and shorts.
Not the English, mate.
So he's turning it around to say I was out on the dance floor in a nightclub. I can believe the first part. I was out there cutting some good moves, but
I think he was making that up.
Was he?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I was quite happy about that one. But well, see, there you go. That statement there, which was inferring something, was talking about what we are chatting about here at the moment. You know, the way you dressed, the way you looked.
Well, I have complimented you a few weeks ago. You came in looking very smart. You had that velvet jacket on. Sweet. I said, winter suits you. But we all know, Mully, in a few months' time, you'll be back to your daggy T-shirts,
and
your
thongs.
daggy shorts, mate.
And thongs.
And your thongs.
Have you ever seen anybody who's dressed in a T-shirt who looks smart?
Well, it depends whether it's a crew neck or a V-neck.
Ah, good point. Which one do you prefer?
I prefer the V-necks.
Looks better, doesn't it?
I think it looks better.
Yeah.
For sure.
But they're hard to come by.
V-necks?
Yeah. Most of the T-shirts are on all the racks from the discount stores right up to, say, the labels, nearly all round neck. Very hard to get a V-neck. But if you get a nice crisp white new T-shirt with a nice cut, nice fit, doesn't look sloppy and it looks pretty good.
So you've got the height, so you can carry it off better. I'm a little bit shorter, a little bit rounder, a little bit wider. It doesn't fit as well, so I've got to be careful. Does clothes make us the man and / woman? Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah, I'd have to go with that, because if you were to go in to have some serious surgery and you had to have a consultation with your surgeon in his office or her office beforehand, and they walked in and they just were sloppily dressed, casually dressed, you wouldn't have that much confidence that that surgeon was going to do a very high professional job when they're slicing you open and getting in there and stitching you up afterward.
Yeah, but a lot of them haven't got that style to them. They're more Einstein. He wore the same clothes because he didn't want to waste time thinking about what he had to wear next. I think doctors are the same. They're not going to be too concerned about the way they look. They're concerned about what they're going to tell you is the best thing for you. So you're telling me you're very critical if you have to get a hip replacement or something like that and he's not dressed that well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, if I have a doctor that has to do major surgery and they come across very sloppily, it doesn't...
You look at the hands, mate.
Oh, the shoes. Hang on, mate.
If he's shaking, probably not. If he's doing a quick slurp of whiskey, no.
While you're sitting in his desk, you bend down, have a look underneath him.
Yeah.
Underneath the desk. Oh,
there's empty bottles under there. No, yeah. I don't think so.
And his shoes are looking pretty tidy as well.
Yeah, it's the shoes as well.
Excuse me, Doc, how sharp are your scaples?
Scaples. I think you need another drink. I don't think you need any more.
And what sort of quality stitches do you use, Doc?
Oh.
Do you go budget or do you go to the best?
It is. But if you had a choice, if I said to you, okay, Keith, you've got a choice. You can either have a nice casual attire, a surfing attire, or a black tie attire. What would you choose?
I'd go the smart one.
The smart.
Yep. You can be casual and smart.
Yeah.
Because casual sometimes can...
it's a bigger range though, isn't it?
Yeah, can go down to sloppy. I don't like sloppy.
I love to have a nice pair of brogues with a nice slim-fitting pair of jeans, a nice linen shirt with a cool jacket, like a suit jacket.
When you say brogues, for us Aussies, it sounds like a pet dog.
Brogues.
Yeah, what is it?
It's a specialist shoe.
Wait, so it's a shoe?
It's a shoe.
That's not hard to explain.
Yeah.
It's
a design of the brogues, which are just... Actually, I saw in a movie with these brogues and I thought, gee, next time I'm going to get a pair of those nice brogues. They fit so well.
And you come out to a climate like this where it's hot and
you can't wear them.
They're wasted.
Well, you can wear them now. Today would be perfect because it's been cold.
We're in the middle of winter right now.
Yeah, you're rugged up. I'm rugged up.
Winters here are small.
It's perfect to get dressed up. Look, $1 million. You can go, look at me, look at me. You get them from Melbourne and Sydney. They love it. Yeah, and they look really good. Yeah. It's so alien to Queensland, though. Maybe Brisbane, but up here, Sunshine Coast, it looks, oh, yeah, they're from Sydney, they're from Melbourne. But the clothing looks really good.
Well, we're up against it, aren't we? We are a small or a medium regional coastal town, so we're not a big city centre. And also we're in a subtropical climate that's right on the coast. And this town is famous for its beaches. So everything here donates or, screams out, just kick back, put a T-shirt on, shorts. Don't even have to wear shoes if you don't like. What about Angela, that chick we met recently? She doesn't wear shoes even through winter.
Oh, she's wearing 80s leggings.
Yeah, she's a throwback, isn't she? To the 70s and the 80s. And
she knits them herself as well, doesn't she?
I think she's the last hippie chick standing, to tell you the truth. Good on you, Angela. I love you dearly. More power to you. But if I ever see her actually, I saw a photo that she put up on Instagram the other day. She had shoes on and they were knitted.
No. Get out. She is, though. She's a character. Good on her, Angela.
Yeah, and folks, if you're interested in finding out a bit more about her, we interviewed her on Lethal and Mully Live, and that will be put up on our podcast streams in the near future, and you can find out a bit more about her.
As we've come to the end again, I can't believe it. It's run away from us.
Always does.
So, as always, Keith, I'll leave you the last word.
Thanks, Lee. And the last word is, it's great to see you again, mate, and sit and chat. And to all your listeners out there, thanks once again for tuning in. As always, please like, share and subscribe and look after each other. So until next time, it's hooroo from me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Don't Get Me Started with Keith and Lee. Don't forget to rate and review this podcast. To see more of Don't Get Me Started, jump onto our socials, follow us on Instagram at Lethal and Mully, Facebook and LinkedIn. If you would like to be a part of the show, email us on don'tgetmestarted2024@gmail.com. Until next time.